Hey guys, it's that time of the month. I'm here to share with you my favorite 5 albums for the month of November. So I'm just going to say it that I'm not going to do this list for December. There's not a lot of records coming out in December. And in December, I'm just going to do my top 10 albums of the year. Now, if you have a top 10 that you would like me to do or a top 5, mention in the comment section maybe my least favorite albums of the year, or if you want me to go really specific with one genre, I wouldn't mind doing that if there's enough demand for that. But I will definitely be doing my top 10 all around favorite records of 2023. But until we get to that, we have to talk about the top 5 albums for November. I'm going to go through chronological order release as always, starting off with Fuming Mouth, Last Day of Sun, out November 3rd on Nuclear Blast. This is the band's second record. They are a death metal band, and this album is a home run. I honestly look at second records always with a little bit of worry, because a band has all the time in the world to release a debut record. They don't have all the time in the world to release a sophomore album. Considering that this album came under really stressful circumstances, Mark dealing with cancer, you never really know where the record is going to lead. You never really know where the record is going to take you. I feel like they took this album into a place where maybe not even they knew they could take it. This is one of those unhinged records that just feels right. It feels right from a sonic perspective, and it feels right from a vocal perspective. Really heavy album, but an album that is not just heavy for the sake of being heavy. It's an album that has a lot of direction, that has a lot of purpose, that has a sense of taking the listener on a very interesting journey. Every song has its own path, but every song is just a step on a much larger journey. I really enjoy this record. I was surprised by how good he is, by how good and consistent it is. It's an album that just doesn't have really any weak spots. And if the second album sounds like this, feels like this, the bar is extremely high for Fuming Mouth when it comes to a third record down the line. But for now, they don't have to worry about that because they have a phenomenal record on their hands. Next, we have Angra, Cycles of Pain, out November 3rd on Atomic Fire Records. This is the band's 10 full-length studio album. They are a prog power metal band, and this is definitely one of my favorite albums from them, at least my favorite album in the last 10 years, 15 years. It's an outstanding record. I wasn't expecting this album to sound and to be this good. They've always been a band that merged really well progressive metal with power metal. But I felt like there was always something missing. There was always something that was allowing them to fall maybe slightly short of merging those two genres together in a way that felt natural, that felt fluid, that felt cohesive. This album does it. To me, if you're a band looking at what defines prog power metal as a genre or as a subgenre, look no further. This album is the definition of that experience. They bring in their prog side, they bring in their power metal side, they merge the two in order to create songs that have the best of both worlds, that have the ability to take you on a mental journey through sound and through vocals with the more progressive aspect of the band, and then they're still able to get you excited, headbang, fists up through the more power metal driven, heavier side of the band. Incredible, solid album, front to back, no bad songs, one of their best. Like I said, definitely their best in the last 10 to 15 years. I don't think there's another album by Angra that even comes close to this one in that time period. Next we have Dying Wish, Symptoms of Survival, out November 3rd on Sharp Tone Records. This is the band's second studio album, and they are a hardcore metalcore band. And here's another band releasing a sophomore album just like Fuming Mouth, and it's a home run, another home run by these guys. They had a great debut record, but once again, you have all the time in the world to make that debut album and to make it work. You have a lot less time to work on a follow-up, and there's always a lot more pressure on that follow-up than there is on the debut album. I feel like they really mature. They really mature as far as knowing what they want from their sound, but not just knowing what they want, knowing how to go and get it. Because you can know what you want, but that doesn't mean that you can execute and you can go and create a sound that is both heavy and introspective at the exact same time, creating this dynamic of being dark, being heavy but not necessarily sonically heavy, more emotionally heavy if you will, and then really heavy when it needs to be sound wise. So it's a great record with great elements, with great definition, with outstanding vocals front to back, still offering super catchy moments, specifically with the chorus. The chorus there's a lot of hooks on this album. It's an album that's easy to digest, easy to get into. The vocals are alive. The vocals are super warm in terms of what they give, in terms of the emotions that they portray. It's such a mature record in terms of everything coming together in a very flawless and natural way. It doesn't feel forced. Elements don't feel forced. The sound doesn't feel forced. The vocals fit in perfectly. Just a great record all around. Next we have Night Crowned Tales, out November 10th on Noble Demon. This is the band's third studio album. They are a melodic black metal band, and this is my favorite record by Night Crowned. I like every record that they've ever released. They're a band that has a very unique sound, a very unique experience, and they create a very unique atmosphere. Even in a genre where obviously there's other bands that do it really well, they've been able to carve a little bit of a niche, a little bit of a world within a world that it's become Night Crowned. But I've always felt like their sound, their essence, their records as a whole lacked something. They lacked the ability of connecting songs a little bit better, so you're not just listening to singles, you're actually listening to a record that has a beginning, middle, and end. I've always felt that's perhaps the area where they fell short, because as musicians, they've always been who they are. They're great musicians, they're great at what they do, and they have great elements within the band. So I've never been concerned about what they can do, what they can perform, but it felt to me when it came to putting records together, they weren't quite sure, or they didn't have the ability to see the forest from the trees and then really define and outline an album that made sense from beginning and end. This one being a concept record, having that obviously helps determine how you put things together, how you're going to make things make sense. And maybe that was the key factor in order to make this album feel more complete, because they brought the quality of the two previous albums, but now they merged a design that really substantiates the quality of the overall record. It doesn't just depend on the individual quality of the tracks, it offers quality as a collective, and that's what you want from any album. Last but definitely not least, Earthside, Let the Truth Speak, out November 17th on Mascot Label Group. This is the band's second full-length studio album. They are a prog rock band, for a lack of a better term, because honestly, I don't know how to define their sound. To me, they are a band that's musically first and foremost. Their sound is what captivated me. Obviously, the vocals for this band are more than any other band an instrument. They use different vocalists, different guest vocalists to come in, but so they're a band that has that attribute, or that has that nuance to the experience of an album. You're not going to get a single singer from beginning to end. You're going to get instrumental tracks, and then you're going to get different singers. They're going to bring their own DNA, they're going to bring their own experience, and they're going to have an impact in the songs, and therefore there's going to be an impact in the overall record. But because I feel like everything with this band starts and ends with the sound, you're able to find the dots that connect these songs, and you're able to find a very interesting path and a very interesting journey from beginning to end. It's an album that feels comforting, that you feel comfortable in it. It's an album that doesn't follow patterns. It starts off with an instrumental track that has 10 plus minutes. I think that says it all. Not many bands would do that. It's not an album that's designed for radio, that is not designed for quick consumption. It's an album that's meant to be set down, enjoyed, and really take your time to digest it. It's 76, 78 minutes in length. It's a long album. So when you look at all the attributes of this band, when you look at all the attributes of this record, it really becomes a thinking man's album, or at least an album that makes you think. And like I said, it's not an album that is easily digested, and it's not meant to be easily digested. It's an album that's meant to be savored. You're supposed to take in every single song, enjoy the moment, enjoy the moments within the song, not rushing it, and just take your time going through it. I was incredibly surprised by them. I had never heard of the band before, so I discovered the band through this record, and it was a very interesting experience for someone who doesn't really like prog a lot, who definitely is not a big fan of instrumental tracks. This album somehow finds its way into my heart, and it's impossible not to, because if you look at the quality of the sound, of the musicianship, of the vocal performances, how can you not enjoy this record? How can you not love this album? A really interesting band with a very out-of-the-box record. This is it. These are my favorite 5 albums for the month of November. Hit me up in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you all at the next video.